Hello guys, in this video we'll have a look at PHP logical operators and how we can use them in PHP scripts or PHP code. And there are AND operator, which you can write whether with letters like AND or by using two ampersands. And I will have a look at them in a second, but first I will show you what logical operators we have. So first one is AND. We can write it whether letters, whether two upper ampersands, as you see here. And second one is OR this is third one, and you can write it with two vertical lines like this. And this basically is the OR is the same as these were two vertical lines. And then there is XOR operator, and then there is NOT operator, which you write as exclamation mark. And now we will have a look how these operators work. But basically, first thing you need to understand about logical operators is that these logical operators are comparing whether the values on the right and on the left hand side of this logical operator and on the right hand side of this logical operator, they are true or false. Okay, and to do this we will create simple two variables, where first variable we will call true, okay, and we will store in it value true, boolean value, and we will create another variable and we will call this other variable false, okay, and in it we will store boolean value false. And now you will start understanding what is boolean, because true returns true and false returns false. We will simply use these boolean values, and we will create if statement, okay, if statement opening closing bracket and opening this curly bracket and closing curly bracket. And as you remember from if statement tutorial, when this if whatever is in these two simple brackets straight after word if, when it returns true, then whatever code is between these curly brackets will run. But if this whatever is in these brackets will return false, then this code in this curly brackets block will not be executed and will not run. So in here inside in this block of code we will simply write echo statement, this is true, okay, this is true. Okay, and now we will have a look at first logical operator, which is AND operator, and we will use this true on the one side, and then we say and we will use variable false on the other side, okay. And now you have to understand here that when we are using this AND logical operator, then we can use this word and, whether we can use these two ampersands. It is the same, but like I mentioned before, we in programmers we use these ampersands. We almost never use this and. However, you can use this word and as well. So what is happening here and what this logical operator and does, it basically checks whether both values on their side is true, and if both values on both sides of this AND operator will be true, it will altogether return true. But if these values will not be true, it will return false. And you will see that if we will, for example, now save this code and we go back to our browser, we will try to restart this web browser, you will see that nothing is executed on the page, because this returns false, because one value on this side is true and other value is false. But if we would, for example, put on this right hand side value as well true, this variable which returns boolean value true, then you will see now on both sides of this AND logical operator there is true, true. And this means that if statement, as you know, it will run whenever this returns true. And in this case, this block of code will run and this is true will be executed on the screen. So let's save it Let's go back to browser, refresh, and you see this is true is executed on the screen. And like I mentioned before, we can use ampersands, and this is what we programmers do. We use these ampersands instead of this word and. So this will be exactly the same, true on both sides. This means that this code echoes this is true is executed. Let's save it. Let's go back to browser, refresh, and you see this is true is executed on the screen. However, if we will change one of these values to false, for example, this variable false because it stores a boolean value of false. Let's save it. Let's go back to browser. You see, oops, I have mistake in writing, false. Okay, now it's okay. Refresh. You see nothing is getting displayed on the screen. So, and this is about AND operator. OR operator, however, it is different. It allows us to have one value to be false and one value to be true. It will still return or I will use this, or it will still return true even if one value will be false. Okay, now you see we have true and we have false on the other side. However, in this case, if we use OR, it allows us have one false value and it will return this is true on the screen. So if we refresh it, you see this is true is returned on the screen. And like I mentioned before, we can use two vertical lines like this, and this is the same as OR statement. You see, we refresh, it's the same as OR statement. And we can use two true, it will still return true if we have two true values on both sides of this OR statement, as you see. However, if in both sides we will have false, it will return false because none of values is true, but at least one value has to be true, otherwise OR will return false. As you see, it was false, false, and if we refresh now, then nothing is displayed on the screen. And we can, with AND and OR logical operators, we can use them as many as we want. For example, if we would want to write another OR operator, we can put it like this, and then we can write variable, let's say true. Okay, and now one, like I mentioned, one has to be true, and here one is true, and this means that in this case this is true will be displayed on the screen because this all together will return true because at least one value has to be true to a logical operator to return true. And if it returns true, then in if statement you know that if these brackets will return true, then this code is executed. So this is true will be executed on the screen. So let's save it. Let's go back and you see this is true is executed on the screen. And now about XOR operator. And XOR operator, it basically checks, it is a little bit different than OR because it needs at least one value to be true and one value to be false. Okay, and if we go XOR, we just can write it as XOR, and if we say false now, variable false, you will see that, or for example, let's leave it false, you will see that nothing will be executed on the screen because XOR at least one value has to be true. Let's save it. You see nothing gets executed, but if we put at least one value true, you will see it is executing now. However, if we will put both values to true, with OR you remember it was executing, but with XOR it will not be executing if we have both values true on both sides. But like I mentioned before, with OR operator or these lines, if we save, it is still executing. So XOR, the difference between OR is that at least one value has to be true in XOR and one has to be false, where with OR we can have both values true, like you saw just a second ago. So, and then there is not, this not operator, and we could say like we could leave only this variable true, and if we save now, you will see that if boolean variable is true, because we are storing value true boolean value, and like you mentioned, like you remember, boolean has only two values, like true and false, which we added to one variable. We added true, to another we added false, and it is programming languages understand it. So true, it means that and if statement returns true, then this block of code gets executed, which is in curly brackets, and if it returns false, it doesn't. And like you saw just a second ago, it is executing because this true variable stores true boolean value and it is executing. However, we can use this last one, not, and it's just what it does, it changes the logic around. It says not true, and in this case, if it says not true, then this will return false, okay? And if we save it, we refresh, and you see that it's not executing, because now it's saying basically not true, okay? So, and the same applies to this false variable. If we add now false, it will change it around to true. It will say not false, because, and let's remove this not operator, and you will see if false, and it is false, so this block will not run and nothing will get displayed on the screen, as you see. However, if we will put before this false variable not operator, it will turn around that logic. It will say not false, and this means that this will return true, and this is true will be displayed on the screen. So let's save it. Let's go back to browser, and you see this is true is displayed on the screen. So this is pretty much about logical operators, guys. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like under this video, subscribe to this channel, and share this video, and see you in my other videos.